I'm Linda, and I work with David and Juan. I'm in the Office Developer Platform Portals and Programs team. We're the team that brings you the Microsoft 365 Developer Program, and we also bring you all the wonderful websites that are the developer centers for all the various products in Office. What I wanted to talk to you about today is just give you a little brief community update. So this is just a little recap of kind of where we're at. As you know, for Office developers, we do not have paid support unless you're a big enterprise company and can afford that sort of thing. So what we've done is taken all the different areas where our developers reach out to for free support for the different types of contacts, such as, I have this great idea, which is what we're going to talk about today, or I found a bug, or how do I do this, or where's the documentation, something's missing. We have all these different contact types. And as a result, we have multiple channels that our PMs on our team volunteer. We have a rotation every week, one of us, including Dave and me and Juan and all the other PMs, triage these places. What I want to talk about today is some upcoming changes in the purple area, which is what happens when an Office add-ins developer has an idea or has a need for a new API or a feature improvement in the user interface or whatnot. So I'll demo that now. The main problem is, as you know, user voice retired last year kind of suddenly, and we didn't have a place to send people for their ideas. So we created a temporary solution, which I'll share with you right now. We went to tech communities where they had forums, and we created the Microsoft 365 Developer Platform ideas. We migrated all of our ideas from user voice over here, and we started sending people here to submit an idea. This was always intended to be an interim solution while we were waiting for Microsoft to develop the feedback portal, which I'll get to momentarily. So as you can see, this is a place to track ideas and add upvotes. We have a lot of ideas. This one has 144 votes on down here, but it's really hard for us to triage. Like I mentioned, this is a volunteer thing for all of our PMs, and they spend a lot of the time in GitHub and don't always get out to these more remote places, I should say. It's also difficult because if we wanted to track the Office add-ins development suggestions, it does change for us, but we have no idea how many. For some reason, this doesn't change. We also can't sort by the tags. So if it was a word add-in suggestion, so it's really hard for the volunteers on the feedback rotation to dive in and get to this. So as a result, you could see we're not doing the best job of triaging this and getting to it. We still have, this has been about a year, and we have 660 new items. So that is obviously a failure on our part for not being responsive enough to your ideas. I'm not saying we don't go out here and look at it. What I'm saying is it doesn't have a process to filter into our actual workflow. So we were diligently waiting for the new feedback portal to come out, which isn't preview, but it is released. This comes with its own set of problems for us. The main one being that it is completely product-centric, doesn't have any area whatsoever for developer ideas. There are a few exceptions. SharePoint is in here. And if you go to their categories, you can see that they have development and customization as an option. Another area that's in here, because it's product level, you'll see Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, but you won't see Office. Another area is Graph. Graph has has a lot of areas for developers to go to. So SharePoint add-ins developers, Graph add-ins, or people who use Graph can use the Graph feedback portal here. But if you wanted to make a suggestion for Word or something, there's developer tools, but there's nothing else really. We do have a couple of people who are using this. I'm not sure how we're going to handle that situation, but we can't. It doesn't. Also, this feedback portal is a bucket basically for our back end. It's called OCV, One Customer Voice, where everything goes to bug reports, in product, send a smile, send a frown, documentation, feedback, all the different contact types. So this feedback portal is a feedback central for all the different contact types. And we don't have a central place for issues. So early on, there had been a suggestion by many of you, as well as many of our PMs, that we should just continue to keep ideas and suggestions for new APIs and new features, suggestions in GitHub. So we're at this point now that we have the feedback portal is in preview and released. The interim solution that's not working, we need to move off of. And so the problem is, where do we go? Do we send you all to the feedback portal and have difficulty triaging there? Or do we keep it in GitHub? You probably remember I brought this up a couple months ago. I personally feel that we should keep you guys where we're already at, which is in the GitHub repo. We have the feedback process volunteers there daily. So we know that we're meeting our service level agreements and triaging issues as they come in. So some of the pros with the feedback portal is that it is the official Microsoft feedback portal. Sadly for us, we can't integrate with it because it doesn't connect on the back end to our OCV repository. The categories don't map at all, and we're not able to customize. You can upvote but you can't have discussions. It does search for duplications, so that removes one of our other headaches, which is reining in all the duplications. I already mentioned several of the cons. Basically, I don't think we can use this. But then how do we use GitHub? It also has problems too. We end up just stacking up the issues. And it's difficult because we have PMs and engineers in China, India, here in Seattle. The person doing the actual triage has to spend a lot of time trying to figure out who gets the assignment. We can integrate, GitHub now has a connector for ADO, but we would need to find somebody on the team or find somehow to develop that resource, because we're very tight and resource constrained with this effort to volunteer to track down all of our customer feedback. We do have plenty of Power BI reports that we can use, but again, that requires somebody to kind of figure out that aspect of it. Okay, so as I continue talking, I want to just mention right now where we're at is that I have submitted the spec that we changed to GitHub with, all the stuff that a spec requires. And most people that I've talked to individually and groups, including many of you personally, like this decision. However, it's not final. I do have to get sign off on it, although I'm very positive this will happen. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to go back and share my screen. If you have a moment to check out feedback versus GitHub Office.js repo and send your thoughts, if you have any, on how we could manage this better. Send it to me directly, and please put in your subject Office add-ins feature suggestion. That way I can sort it and get to it directly. If you have any suggestions that you've currently submitted on the feedback forum, if you have any actually here that you've added, please at me. My username here is at lindaloo-MSFT. It actually might be, what am I? Yeah. So if you are tracking one of your ideas in this spot, if it migrated over from user voice or if you submitted a new one, please at me so I can make sure that I follow up with you. So have a look at this is the new feedback forum. Imagine you had something you wanted to request. How would you go about it? And please give me your feedback. One of the things I wanted to point out is that here in Office.js, where we do most of our triage or most of the feedback process volunteers work in mostly, we already have quite a few product feature requests. We have 47. Some of them are open, some of them are resolved, some of them have bugs because they're in the backlog. But one of the things we can do if there is a product feature request is to convert the issue to a discussion. This is something SharePoint's doing. This is a new feature in GitHub. If any of you are using it, I'd love to hear it. And what we can do is start having conversations about the feature and kind of dialing it down so the engineers can look at it, and then we can convert it back to an issue and actually add it to the backlog. So this is something that if we do this, we're going to definitely utilize this new GitHub feature of discussions, because we can go back and forth, but we can lock an issue and make sure it gets discussed thoroughly before we bring it back in and add it to our workload. So, and then lastly, I think the last bullet point on the previous slide was if you are interested in being in an official customer survey type user group, let me know. I have other questions about other areas of how we do support some of these areas that you frequent, Stack Overflow, Microsoft Q&A, and some of the other channels that we monitor. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll do my best right now to answer, or you can reach out directly to me. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Linda, for that update. It's very cool to see progress happening in that space.
And I'll have more probably next month.
Okay, awesome.